Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Humanity. Today we are going to look at health, but we are going to look at children. Your children that you women and men have, whom you call your baby, your young children. And the risk that they face while we are in this situation whereby in the 21st century, men and women consider their children as weapons which are sent on front line. Instead of what you call ballistic missile, they send their children. And that is one of in the interpretations of the scared verses of the Holy Quran, that is classified as one of the last whatever that determines that men and women are tired of life. Because if you're to take a 3-year-old baby or a 5-year-old baby and send her on the front line to war, that is very, very reckless. Very, very reckless. So that's what we're going to discuss. And how have we come to be that children now are used as weapons of war? Weapons that are sent on the front line to fight wars. This takes us back to the 11 centuries, whereby men thought that they were intelligent. Men thought they were intelligent. With it, they used articles within what they had conjectured as their way of life. There are 2 articles in that. There are so many of them, but 2 of them are very, very kind of. They are explained in a very derogative way, both to young children as well as adults, because these are the articles which make children as weapons of war. One of the articles, the physical mutilation of others, as well as psychological mutilation of others. In the psychological mutilation of others, this is whereby a child is indoctrinated with racism, and all sorts of dirty theologies based on the cults that molds that environment where that child lives. That very dirty that theologies. When we talk of theologies, men think that theology is what they teach in churches. No, theologies can be classified as any information which may kind of refer to when you're doing your worshiping, when you're glorifying whoever. I mean, women of that theologies involve kind of prostrating and I mean worshiping what you call idols, things that are crafted or manufactured, or theologies that are psychological or whatever, that drives men to think that if I say this word and this one, I may become like a little boy, and then I'll go to front line as this guy does, but I'm a witch, I'm a marab, I'm this and that. That is when Allah says, my people, creations, we created you. We created you from atoms or molecules, which you cannot look, you don't know what is the anatomy. If you are not given a binocular, you don't know what an atom is. With that, if you say that when you are at the age where you are, and they say, we send our children to war. My people, human beings, please, I'm going to use the word please. It is very, very, very derogative, very sick, very insanity to put your mind, because we gave human beings what we call a percentage of mental development. That percentage of mental development is to allow you to articulate reasoning, accountability to whatever that comes within your brain, because Human beings, I remind you one thing. You have brains in your head, in your skulls, but you don't own those brains. You don't own those brains within your skulls. He who has a signatory to your brains, you tells you that your brain are like what we call jellies. Jellies, the softest part of your whatever in the human tissues is a jelly-like thing, and it's a brain. So if you are to play around with that, I think was it last week, someone came and said, whoever asked him, who are you? He said, I'm Jelly Maya. I said, what? Yes. Do not go out of your head, children, and I mean men who will say you are insurrectionists, you are fighting the religion from which you are created. Because he who has the signatory, who has the signature, he says, this is your name, this is your brain, and this is my name, this is my signature, this is how I made your brain up. In a jelly form, very soft. I can easily command you or drive you to drink alcohol, and you kill every brain neuron in your head, in your brain. With that, I just want to warn men that the most holy, beautiful religion, well, let's put it on the first level, which is life, because you do whatever you do as human beings, because you are living creation, you are living communities of creations, which are specifically, we've pulled out one whatever, which is a human being who was given a percentage of men and women who can say, I own that horse, I own that chicken and that house. With that, the same kind of whatever percentage, that the little percentage which was given to you, to articulate reasoning accountability, tells you that if you say you own that horse, you did not create what it eats. You did not create what it drinks. You did not even put a muscle by muscle on whatever that it is as a horse. With that, I just want to remind you that men, in modern times, in 2021, today is, I think, the 17th or the 18th, stop driving yourself into the corners of a sinkhole whereby many of you, just by sudden whatever, something will happen to human beings because of their foolishness. Because of there's a gambling culture, not gambling with those who go in the casinos, but there's a culture that made interpreted a certain theology into gambling with the holy words and gambling with their lives, the survival of the human race. My people, for 11 centuries, you've involved yourself, you've seen what you've been through. Genocide after genocide, war after war, and the capital business on planet Earth is weapons. We did ask you, my people, my creations, who is the beneficiary to these weapons? A genocide, when you commit genocide, do you commit it against who? Is it not fellow human beings? Do you, when you commit genocides or Holocaust, do you not commit this whatever against your fellow human beings? If the answer is yes, and if there is documented historical records, please, I beg you, do not put your children or yourselves on front line as babies and whatever, 3 or 5 or 10 or 7, whatever, on the front line with that you are fighting Islam. Because all these things you do them in order to promote what for centuries you've promoted as your way of life. Your way of life has opened every door of disease that can destroy human beings' genetic original structures, including yourselves, having laboratories in which you say, we fight disease by creating more disease, as a people who are unconscious, who are in an unconscious state. It's like a man who is knocked out of his body by alcohol, and then you throw a bottle of whatever, and he picks it by accident, he picks it up, he starts gappling, pouring more alcohol, and already a decimated body that has been crushed by alcohol. So my people, I just wanted to tell you that this is a healthy advice, an interpretation for you, young men and women, even if you are 70 years, and at one time you can say, according to this, that theology at our pastors, you can do this and no. It's only here on planet Earth that men and women think that they are Pentecost, they are Ahmadiyya, they are Christian, they are Catholics, they are this and that, they are Cadian. These are things which are very, very derogatory, very dirty to your own lives. Your own lives, not me. Your own lives as living creations. Whereby, I'll tell it to you today, that life was meant to be, the time whatever span life, in 2018, this planet collapsed in a state of kind of calling upon Allah to say, Ya Allah, can you shut down life on planet Earth because men and women are out of control with that ways they conduct their lives. And the planet collapsed, and the system that makes Mother Planet Earth rotate on the rotational sequencing cycle around the sun had collapsed. The heart of Mother Planet Earth had died in 2018. So he said, or resuscitated it. And when resuscitated it, you men, from then, many of you did not know, and it's very hard for you to know, because you are creatures who, even if you are walking on Mother Planet Earth, you wouldn't know that at the same time you're walking, this Mother Planet Earth is doing a rotation. You wouldn't know that. You wouldn't experience. You wouldn't see it. Even your own bodies, you wouldn't know that now I'm 7 inches. Last night I went to bed and I was 2 inches taller than yesterday. Now I'm whatever. No, you wouldn't know that. So with that, I would like to send a warning. Men and women, please, please, do not go over the boundaries that we are laid down, that Allah says, do not exceed the boundaries. If you do, there is a sinkhole. That sinkhole, once, and I think you've seen some sinkhole appear within whatever. It can easily take whatever it is. And at any given time, Allah can just command any place on this planet, and it will become a sinkhole. And it will swallow a city like New York without any excuse, without any whatever. So, with that, please, put your houses in order. You are all living Muslims on this planet. You are men and women, creations of a Muslim community. Not only on the planet Earth, but the entire universe, the religion of the entire universe is Islam. The entire universe, as it was assembled according to the most holy, beautiful religion of Islam. When you turn around and say, we are decent, my people, if you are to hear what goes on within the coil is a solar system of planet, which we call the planet Earth solar system, or the sun solar system. It's one of the loudest. It's very unstable. Most of the time it's wobbling because of when you enter the field of technology, you said we are very intelligent. The technology you are advanced in is something that can cause the strangulation of even the solar system itself, let alone the galaxies. So with that, I'm just advising you that young babies, your babies, look after your babies. Do not throw them into the line of fire, and they will say, go on the front line, go on the front line. You don't know where you're going, my people. I don't know. I hardly on the news. I hardly watch the news. But of recent, I was kind of seeing something. I don't know what was happening in California. I would beg that Americans and Europeans, especially bodies like the UN and NATO and what have you, whichever are champion human rights and whatever, look into your game. For you go back and sit in the UN or whatever assembly and look at 11 centuries, what have you achieved? And if you put on the table something that has substance in it, then you can. But if there's nothing, then kind of put a question. You can write an open whatever page and put a question mark to every member of the UN and NATO and what have you. If they come up with something, then you can come back and say, we put our children on the front line. Then we'll see what happens. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.